Most people think retiring early means grinding forever or making six figures. But the truth, the old retirement playbook is broken. One of my students is already on track to retire by 2030 without a six-figure salary and without giving up things he loves, aka like going to the movies every single week. How? He stopped guessing and gave his money a system, and I'll show you part of that system today and the rest in part 2. This is part 1 of my 5-part How to Retire Early series, where I show you the strategies to use in your 20s and 30s to retire early in your 40s and 50s. And we're starting with my 5-step investing game plan. The same one I teach my students to go from anxious about money to building wealth on autopilot. Welcome back, Rich Chicks, or if you're new here, this is Priceless Tay.
Money expert Taylor Price.
Founder of Priceless Tay.
Taylor Price, Gen Z money expert. TikTok influencer Taylor Price, also known as Priceless Tay.
Taylor Price.
She's the TikToker making finance fun. Taylor Price is CEO of her own company.
We want people to thrive, not just survive.
Does anybody say, I don't want to take advice from a 25-year-old, like financial advice, Taylor, right? Does somebody say, and your explanation will be, you better, because it's good advice.
If you started investing in 2020, you would have doubled your money by investing in the S&P 500 to 2025.
Yeah.
The money talks, not just me. If you're ready to start investing, start with Priceless Tay.
Rule number 1, define your retirement vision. Right now, 40% of working age Americans say they're not confident they'll retire comfortably. And honestly, they're not wrong. Here's why. The median US retirement account is just $76,000, but the average retiree spends over $52,000 every year, using something called the 4% rule, which basically says you can safely pull 4% of your savings each year for 30 years. You need about $1.3 million to retire stress-free. See the gap? That's the difference between clocking out with freedom or clocking in forever. So instead of guessing, here's your move. Give your dollars a GPS. Write down your dream retirement in 3 parts. The age you want to clock out for good, the lifestyle you want, hobbies, for me, travel, downtime, and where you live. It's not about locking yourself in. It's about pointing your money in the right direction so it actually moves instead of sitting in checkings pretending it's busy. When you've got that vision, you stop saving whatever's left over and start building towards the life you actually want. Rule number 2, know where you stand today. You cannot close this gap if you have no idea how big it is. And most people, they just don't. Here's the reality. Half of Americans with retirement accounts have less than $31,000 saved. But if you only look at the average, it looks way higher because a handful of huge accounts pull the number up. That's misleading, like looking on Instagram highlights instead of the full story. That's why the median matters here. The median is the middle point, where the most realistic snapshot of where people actually are. And when you compare yourself to that number, you see the truth. Are you really ahead, or do you just feel like you are? Think of it this way. It's like trying to run a marathon without knowing your starting point. You can't measure your progress if you don't know exactly where you're starting from. Rule number 3. Calculate your future income needs. Knowing your balance is one thing, but if you don't know your finish line, you're running behind. This is where most people guess and pray it's enough. But if you want to clock out early and still live like the CEO of your life, you need to know exactly how much future you will need every year. Here's the simple math. Add up your future lifestyle costs. Housing, healthcare, travel, hobbies, the works. Multiply that number by 25. That's the nest egg target using the 4% rule. Adjust for location because a beach house in California is not the same as a cabin in North Carolina. Now, I want you to compare that number with what you already have. That gap, that's your freedom gap. Once you see it, the question shifts from, am I saving enough, to how freaking fast can I get there? Rule number 4, build a strategic savings and investment plan. You don't close this retirement gap by working more hours. You close it by making your money work harder than you do. The truth here is that saving alone won't get you there. If your dollars are sitting in cash, they're not building your future. What they're doing is they're standing around like interns with no assignments, all right? Think about this. Over the last 30 years, the average savings account earned less than 1% per year. Meanwhile, the S&P 500, a simple index of the 500 biggest US companies, returned about 10% annually. That's the difference between money crawling and money compounding. The goal is simple. Build a portfolio that grows in the background while you live life right now. The big picture of it all, choose diversified, low-cost investments like index funds or ETFs that compound for decades. Automate your contributions so that investing happens whenever you're paying attention or not. As you get closer to retirement, shift part of your portfolio into safer assets so market swings don't wreck your entire plan. Rule number 5, keep your plan alive. Retirement planning isn't a one and done move. It's a living, breathing strategy that grows and adapts with you. Too many people build a plan once and never touch it again. But the truth here is that your life changes, at least I know mine does. The markets change, and if you don't adjust, your plan can drift off course without you even noticing. Think of it like running a company. You wouldn't hire employees and then never check in. Your dollars need the same performance review. Here's the high-level review. Review your plan at least once a year or anytime there's a big life shift like marriage, kids, or a new job. Check your investment mix to make sure it still matches your timeline and goals. Then track your progress towards your retirement target so you know if you're ahead or if you're behind or if you need to pivot. When you treat your retirement plan like this living, breathing part of your life, you're not just preparing for someday. You're building proof that your money will be ready when you are. So now you got the 5 rules to build a real retirement plan. But here's the thing. Christian, my student, didn't stop there. He used just one number most people don't even know exists. That number is why he's already on track to hit financial freedom by 2030. And in part 2, I'll show you exactly how to calculate it for yourself. And it's called CoSpy. And once you know it, every money decision gets easier. So don't stop here. Part 2 is where the shortcut really begins.